Hello, Griffins. Thank you for attending the LGBTQ2IA Plus Study Abroad session. This session is brought to you by the Center for International Programs. And special thanks to Jared, who serves as our sexual diversity and gender advisor, for supporting this initiative. Just before we get started here, there are a few key points that I wanted to emphasize. First of all, the Center for International Programs is definitely committed to making student mobility and student travel more inclusive and accessible for all students. For students who identify as LGBTQ2IA+, they typically have no problems when they travel abroad. However, foreign laws and customs can be very different than in Canada. So it's important to do some research and to prepare for your trip in advance. A lot of the information that we're going to cover today is available on our website at www.uoguelph.ca. And before we get started, I should make a quick comment about COVID. Obviously, at the moment, student mobility is on hold. It's going to hopefully return in the near future, and when that time comes, we hope to provide students with incredible experiences to study abroad once again. So let's get started. My name is Mike Lafleur. I use the pronouns he and him, and having traveled to about 65 countries myself, I'm a huge advocate for travel as a platform for learning about yourself and the world. However, I am mindful that the fact that my experiences while traveling as a biracial, heterosexual male may be quite different from others who bring their own social identity and cultural lens to the experience. Hence, it's important for students to understand LGBTQ2IA+ rights, social norms, and issues that might be prevalent within the host country. As you can see, my contact information is up on the screen. If ever you want to book an appointment or email me your questions, you can find me at goabroad@uoguelph.ca. We also have Chen, who's the Education Abroad Advisor for Arts, Social Science, and Commerce. As well, we have a great and amazing leadership team and support team, and a group of peer helpers who are all past study abroad participants, as well as Jacqueline, who is our international education intern. For general inquiries, you can always email cip@uoguelph.ca as well, or book an appointment. As for our agenda today, there are 4 things that we will be presenting. First off, we'll make the case for study abroad and hopefully tell you why it should be a great experience for you during your time at Guelph. Secondly, we'll make the connection between identity and travel. We'll let you know what some student supports are, as well as next steps. This session is being recorded and will be posted, so if there is information that you would like to review, you can always preview the session in future as well. So in my mind, there are 4 traits that are really key for students to have, and which most students already inherently have, and that's being resilient, open-minded, flexible, and adaptable. If you see yourself having these characteristics, you are in a great position to thrive in a study abroad experience. I know for myself, my first experience traveling was as a university student. I spent my summer in Peru and the following summer in Venezuela, and those opportunities definitely helped launch my career in international development and have that confidence to keep traveling as well. And fortunately, I've found travel to be an amazing experience, and let me explain why. By participating in a study abroad program, you have the opportunity to explore the world, gain some new perspective, gain a better understanding of who you are, where you're from, what you want to do with your life, and even test yourself and challenge yourself and see what you're made of in terms of going out and being independent and experiencing a new culture. I know from hearing from many students who come back from their study abroad experience, part of the best part for them is meeting so many international students and building these lifelong friendships as well. So that's definitely a benefit to studying abroad. Particularly if you're an exchange student, you'll have an opportunity during orientation when you first arrive to meet all the other exchange students as well. And I find that hearing from our own students, they all have this shared passion for travel and they all want to explore different parts of the country. So they end up connecting and making these great getaways along in their journey. So the third point I would want to stress is that by doing a study abroad session, you have an opportunity to combine academics and travel. And if you can imagine, for example, you have the opportunity to learn about sustainability in Sweden, or to learn about Maori culture in New Zealand, or Japanese customs and traditions in Japan. So really, there's a whole wide range of courses available to you that might not be available to you now at the University of Guelph. So it's a great way to sort of enhance your degree that way. And lastly, as you know, we live in an increasingly globalized and diverse world, and the workplace is definitely emphasizing the need for intercultural skills and effectiveness these days. So I know for many students, having this study abroad experience helps them to internationalize their resume and have those transferable skills that employers are looking for. So for me, those are 4 great reasons for you to consider study abroad. So as you can see from this map, the University of Guelph has over 100 partner institutions in 30 different countries, particularly for our exchange program. So we send students all around the world, hundreds of students each year, to different parts of Europe, to the University of Ghana, for example, to parts of Asia, Malaysia, Japan, China, Singapore. We also have partner institutions in Oceania and partners in Fiji, New Zealand, and Australia, as well as other destinations in the global south. So while most students might have this preconceived notion that study abroad is limited to just exchange, there are other opportunities that I would emphasize as well. So for example, there are field schools. A field school is slightly different. You'd be traveling with a University of Guelph professor and a group of students for a few weeks over the summer and earning a credit as well. So if you're perhaps new to travel, this might be a great way to help you gain some international experience in a very social format as well. We also send students to various countries to learn languages. I know that many of the students who come back from Malaga, for example, rave about the summer they spent learning Spanish and exploring different parts of Spain, whether it's Madrid or Barcelona or other parts in the south. In addition to language programs, we have research opportunities in countries like Germany, the UK, and France. So if you're looking to gain some research skills while also gaining some international experience, that might be an opportunity for you as well. I know for some students, the idea of traveling for 4 months can be daunting at first, especially if you haven't traveled much. But there are also some short-term summer opportunities that would allow you to earn part-time University of Guelph credits as well. So In terms of travel and identity, there are some points that I wanted to emphasize in this presentation. When choosing a travel destination, we would ask that students consider the following points. First off, social norms as simple as eye contact, hand holding, open displays of affection, and dating may be construed very differently across cultures. Open discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity may also be considered taboo in some contexts, and same-sex marriages and relationships are not legal in many countries as well. Some other points for you to consider and to research are as follows. You may face discriminatory laws or practices that may be applied arbitrarily or inconsistently and may vary from one region to another, even within the same country. There may be no laws prohibiting same-sex relationships, but they may be considered socially unacceptable. Your destination may have laws that protect LGBTQ2IA+ people, but they may not be followed or enforced. Depending on your destination, you may not have access to certain rights. Healthcare institutions may refuse to treat you, or hotels may not accept your bookings, or your same-sex partner may be denied power of attorney or next of kin rights because of your sexual orientation. In terms of traveling and identity, you should also consider that while traveling outside of Canada, you are subject to local laws, even if they are different from Canadian laws. So not all countries have the same values and legal system as in Canada, so it's important to research laws relating to LGBTQ2IA+ people in your destination country and any other country you wish to travel. So you can always visit the website www.travel.gc.ca, and here you'll find a list of travel advisories that would be of interest for you to do some research as well. And lastly, I just want to point out some questions that you might want to consider reflecting on. So for example, how might your identity evolve while traveling abroad? How might your medical needs and mental health supports differ while overseas? How might you go about updating your gender identity on your passport? And are you comfortable visiting a country where LGBTQ2IA+ rights are not recognized, or where LGBTQ2IA+ people are not socially accepted? So as you probably are aware of, Student Experience offers many supports for LGBTQ2IA plus students. You can always seek advising. As I mentioned, Jared at the start is always happy to support students in this manner. There's also an outline online chat support and community resources, Arch Guelph and Out on the Shelf, as well as student clubs and organizations. I would also just want to emphasize that your host institution would also have likely organizations and clubs and supports to support you along the way as well. And we would be very happy to help facilitate those connections for you. In terms of some additional supports from study abroad, I would emphasize that there are many financial supports in terms of scholarships and bursaries. If you did a quick Google search for University of Guelph travel grants, you'll see that there's a number of scholarships available through Student Financial Services. There are also scholarships available through your own department, as well as external funders as well. In terms of health and safety, the Center for International Programs always prioritizes the safety of our students while abroad, and we provide an enormous range of online and in-person safety training as part of your pre-departure training to prepare for your experience. So we cover concepts like mental health, vaccinations, what to do in an emergency, the role of the Canadian government, travel insurance, street smarts, and general safety tips to keep you safe along the way. If you do have questions about academics, it's usually begins with a conversation with your program counselor, where you would talk about some of the different courses that you're interested in taking, and they would make sure that those courses will be easily transferred back to your degree when you return. So you know, even before you go, that the courses that you're taking are going to earn you credits that go towards your degree as well. In terms of social connections, I want to emphasize that the University of Guelph Study Abroad has so many past alumni and previous exchange students that are more than happy to share their experience. So we also organize what's known as a traveler's night, where we would have students who are going to different countries come, meet, socialize, network, and we also invite our incoming exchange students as well. So even before you leave for Australia, for example, you have the opportunity to connect with other students from Australia who can give you some tips, some advice, and some hints as to help you along the way. In terms of logistics, if you require assistance in terms of a study visa, passports, information on how to book a cheap flight, those are some of the logistical things that we can assist you with, both in person and that are part of our online programming as well, known as Depart Smart. So my main message to students is that you are fully supported along the way, and we're always here to help answer your questions. And obviously we send hundreds of students abroad each year, and we've been doing it for a number of years now. So it's for the most part, a very smooth operation. So in terms of getting started, my advice for you would be to do some research. As I mentioned at the start, you can always visit our website, uoguelph.ca/CIP. And from there, you can hit our program search and look at all the different host institutions and find some general information about the opportunities that are available to you. So as I mentioned here on our website, you can do a very basic study abroad program search and then filter programs by field of study, region, country, or semester as well. So you might narrow down your search and you'll find that there's information regarding academic dates, sort of the credit equivalency, as well as some of the different courses that might be available as well. So essentially, when you are applying, we ask that you narrow down your top choices to 5 destinations, and we do our best to place students in their top choices. To apply, you do need a grade point average of at least 70%. If you, for some reason, happen to fall slightly below that, you can always make a case for yourself, and we're willing to take a look at it and see if we can make some accommodations for you as well. And essentially, your application would be due at the end of January, and you will be notified of your placement in early March as well. I should maybe just emphasize that if for some reason you require learning accommodations or some accessibility supports while you are abroad, we're very happy to work with you in making sure that your needs are met in those terms as well. So after you're placed in March, we do the safe travel orientation, as I mentioned, and then we help you prepare for your study abroad experience, whether that involves completing your host institution application, talking with your program counselor about your courses, completing the online pre-departure training, applying for your visa or your passport, or any other pre-departure preparations you might need to handle, like vaccinations, for example. So that's a bit of a timeline. If you are interested in applying for next year, I would definitely encourage you to come to our website, post your inquiries to our peer helpers and our education abroad intern, or book an appointment with your education abroad advisor as well. We're coming to the end here, and I did talk about most of these sessions as well. If you are interested in doing a field school and an exchange, for example, that's obviously possible as well. And we would also invite you to participate in the info session to get access to the application. Just 2 points I want to point out here. If you are interested in learning more about some of the supports that are available to you, please visit diversityabroad.com. And as I mentioned, the Government of Canada has some great tips and advice as well. So just to wrap up here, I would also just encourage everyone to follow us on Facebook, as well as Instagram and Twitter. Right now we have a great Explore the World photo contest that is happening on Facebook. We've also been doing weekly Explore sessions, and these sessions have been recorded and are available on our website as well. And in November, we'll be giving the next Explore session talking about the Global South. So lots of ways to interact, to engage, and to sort of learn more and get excited about study abroad. All right, so I'll leave it at that. And once again, I welcome you to contact me if you have any further questions or concerns. And I hope that you will continue exploring some of the different sessions available during this virtual study abroad fair. All right, we'll sign off. Happy travels, and be in touch if you do have questions. Thank you.